Hello, everybody. Welcome to DocPoint, Helsinki Documentary Film Festival 2022. I'm Arturo Delgado, and I'm here with Ahmet Necdet Cupur, director of Les Enfants Terribles, a beautiful film. Ahmet, thank you very much for being with us. It's a pity that we cannot be in the same place, but nonetheless, it's great to be here with you. Thanks for your film.
Well, thank you. It's a great pity because I thinking about like the cold in Helsinki. I even bought a jacket, a very warm jacket, but sorry that like it's really sad for me not being there. But still, I'll have to use the jacket now here in Paris.
It's also cold, but we will welcome you here anytime. It will be really nice. But you have shared, your film is with Finnish audiences, and I'm sure that it's like also making an impact in them as it's making in many people that are watching this film that is traveling a lot. I think perhaps the first question is like, could you tell us a little bit more how these projects originate?
I wasn't really, I mean, I never had it consciously that I was going to go back and film my family, film my sister. Everything has begun when my sister called me and she needed my help. But I really wasn't thinking that's going to be a story, a documentary. So I went there and I just began to understand the her conflict with all her environments, and then I realized that her conflicts were mine 20 years ago. So I decided to film her slowly and just to have images of my past so I could carry them with me, and I don't know, maybe just to remind myself where I came from. And then instead of staying 7 days, 1 week, I began to stay more and I began to follow her more. And through Zainab, I've met Nezahat, and I stayed for 2.5 months and I filmed them. That's how it began. But even though I filmed them for 2.5 months, I never thought that it's going to be a real documentary, a film out of all of this. That's why I think I just realized that I used most of in the editing, I used most of the images from these first shootings while I was not conscious about the filming. They were not conscious about what it was going to be. And then I came back and I watched them. I watched the images, and then I began to just put together some of the stuff, and then the story hit me. That's how it began.
And how did it go to bring the camera into the family? You said that somehow was a little bit of a kind of a reenactment of your own past, seeing through the lives of your younger like sister and brother. But once the camera is a little bit more established, or once you kind of like take it out and start filming, did it provoke something? Did it work the way you expected to have a camera there?
We don't have images in my like I don't have childhood images. We don't have my parents. We don't have any photos. The cameras doesn't represent anything for us. They watch the TV, but when we talk about documentaries or films, it's for them it's more about like a crew and people. Because I wasn't consciously aware of what I was doing, like I wasn't after a film with my sister, so I was filming the whole village, I was filming the streets, I was filming everything. So when I entered into the house, it wasn't very different for them being filming others and them at the same time. That's the first shootings of the first 2.5 months. But then when I began to be like, when I saw that there is a documentary, then I was conscious, and when I talked to them and asking their consent for a film, then everything has begun to change. Their view on me and the camera has changed, and I think at that moment the camera began to create a difference within the house. I think it changed some stuff. I'm sure of it.
It seems sometimes to me that even though those conversations and those dilemmas are there, sometimes the camera thinking about a film scene allows them to actually sit down and talk and go through things, almost like sometimes filmmaking is an excuse for genuine dialogue and conversations to happen.
I think that's not because of the camera, because we always talk like that. And I mean, I went back to see Zainab this summer, and the same things surfaced up, and we were talking, and I was looking, is there any camera here? There wasn't any camera, but the things that we say was repeated so much. We kept talking about the same things, Zainab or Mahmoud or Nezat and me. It became a very repetitive thing. For example, Zainab and her mother, this talk, I filmed like hours and hours of similar talks in other moments, but they were not filmed good, but the same talk. So that's why there was really, I don't know, some of the things surfaced up, but not the dialogues, not the words.
And then somewhere else you've said that obviously you also your figure as the oldest brother that have left as an example of the dilemmas that also sort of like influence them sort of like emotionally. But I'm also interested, it'll be nice to hear a bit more, but I'm also interested in for you coming back. You know, in the beginning of the film, you said, no matter what I do, this place always come back to me. No matter what I write about, it's always about this place. So the coming back, because the story in front of us is so strong, the coming back, that important aspect for you is in the beginning, but no maybe so much how later on. How was it for you to see now with new eyes your village? So.
To be honest with you, I thought that it's going to be very, very hard in the beginnings. In the beginning, when I went there, and I saw how my parents were getting more conservative, more religious, more authoritarian. I was thinking like, I can't deal with this. I don't need to stay here. But me having the option to leave whenever I wanted to was easy. That's the point when I decided to stay longer, to feel the emotions of being enclosed, just like Nezat and Zainab, but not Mahmoud. We have the freedom of liberty to leave and come back. So when I was there, I think that's why the camera made it very, very easy. It was it was less realistic for me, and most of the times I was analyzing the situation. I was analyzing my place in this family, and I was thinking like, I was thinking too much, and then I really wanted to exhaust myself during the day, feel the camera and the weight of the camera. So I would stop thinking and analyzing. I couldn't find my place. I thought that I could have a consolation with my parents, but we were speaking very, very different languages, and I have become a very moralist person. I know what's right and what's wrong, and every time they did something, I was like, I filmed these kind of things, but being behind the camera and being a moralist while your brothers and sisters are struggling, I became a person that is not very authentic. In the documentary, I was during the shootings behind the camera, and for 10 days there was a cinematographer with me, so she could film me as well. But I realized that my place in the family was so much in between. The image I had, like as an image, I was not there. I had just these bloodlines or family lines, but not the emotional ones, not at least with my parents. So several times I had to leave because it wasn't easy just to accept things as they are. But I went back.
Like your brothers do as well.
I don't know why, but I think it's just like we go back to solve what we have, because we can't seem to. I mean, I couldn't I couldn't accept what I had in the past, and now I don't know how to solve it either. So maybe I'll go back again for another film. But yeah, consolation is very necessary for me or for others. I don't know, but it's just like for me, I needed this to be like to go to be able to go on, to be able to create my own family or just have normal emotional bonds with others. I needed this consolation.
And obviously there is also another element, because this is between the family dynamics, which are, really important. But then at some point when this become like a film project, you realize that you're going to share this with people and even with the whole world, because the film is traveling a lot. So while you were editing as well, and you were constructing these scenes, and these scenes like very raw in terms of feelings, and no censorship at all, but at the same time your own family, I imagine that hasn't been easy at all, no? The editing, like seeing like, okay, this is my family and I'm gonna put this image of my family, I'm gonna share it with people that they don't know anything about it.
That's why I had to change 3-4 editors because I didn't know how to deal with these kind of things. And it wasn't just because my family, it was mostly not being able to accept what was going on and not being able to, being helpless not to change the course of things. Is like, how difficult can it be for my sister to go to a high school? I mean, finding myself in sort of several dilemmas in front of the images and reliving all these moments. Yeah, the editing was tricky, and I had to make it like 4 weeks, then 2 weeks of editings, then other 3 weeks. I didn't want to go on editing because I was entering into something that I couldn't really emotionally deal with. So every 4 weeks I had to leave, and that helped me a lot. That helped me not to be inside. I was already with the images, with the camera inside the family, so I thought that I could have a bit of distance with the editing, and that's where the editor Mathilde had created this feeling of my place, just like not in the inside, not outside, but in between. I think she made a very good job.
Yeah, and related to that as well, there is a very also emotional moment which is related to the house, to sort of like moving away from the house and the house and the memories and the childhood. Like one of those moments when the documentary film captures something that is really also like happening in that way. One of those luck somehow in a way, because they are very very expressive, right? And then they move to a new place, and also the film seems to start offering some kind of hope or new views on a new Turkey as well, no? So I think that was also very very nice mechanism to move from the family to this more general idea, and that's a little bit my question as well. It's your family, but it's also a microcosm of many societies, right? Only in Turkey, really. So how was this idea of in which way this is also a story beyond your family?
The story was way bigger in the beginning, after I realized what I wanted to film, because I wanted to relate Zainab's work through other girls in the village, and then through the village we all these girls going to work in a factory, and this factory is shown officially it's a school. And then from my brother's point of view, I wanted to re-question the place of religion as not a place of tradition, not through the religious point of view, but as personal point of view. How do we deal with daily life through the traditions and not the religious point of view? But then in Turkey, it was a coup attempt in 2016, and most of the shootings related to anything. We had like there was, what's it called, like an emergency state. There wasn't any. I was refused to shoot in any place, so I had to go back and stay inside the home and not really go out. But then I realized that was even better because I wanted to see. I mean, I focused way more to the humanity as I can find it in my brother and sister, and I tried it hard in my mother and father, and then I realized that's what humanity for me. That's what home for me. And then at the end of the film, at the end of the projections I realized that I redefined what's home, what's house, what's family for me. I don't know if it is like universal, but I think for me, it's just human. I don't know if we can be any different if we are in Argentina or in China.
I guess another way of knowing how universal it is also is also to see from your parents' perspective. Like how was it for them to watch the film?
I couldn't show it to my parents, though my brothers and sisters and Nazat, all others have seen it, because the film was presented the trailer was shown in the Turkish TV, and my father saw the trailer and reacted very badly to Zeynep. And Zeynep still lives in his home, in his house, because she's still preparing to the university by going and coming back, making round trips. So seeing his reaction, I thought that I can wait until Zeynep leaves, and then I could show it to them. So they haven't seen it yet, my parents.
The film has been screened in Turkey, no? And,
In several festivals, yeah.
several festival, and I guess being in the press and
Yes, it was, because in a prestigious festival, while it was competing with other films, it was competing with other fiction films, and when it won a prize, the critics in Turkey, they questioned about if the documentary should compete with other fiction films. But the content of the film was never really discussed, unfortunately.
uh, yeah, strategies to avoid it. Yeah, but what is it clear that it's a very it resonates a lot with I think with a whole generation of Turkey people, and it's amazing to hear your especially your sister, that conversation between your sister and your mother. This is great, and mm, thank you for also offering so long scenes, so we can actually see it that way.
Thank you. I was surprised. I was listening to her and I was thinking, I am the one who laughed. I am the one who knows several things, but she's teaching me way more things that I could ever learn. I don't know. I don't know how she has become very conscious about the whole world's values. I really, Mahmoud is very, how do we say, very enigmatic person. He stays right without breaking with the traditions. He is a traditional man. He practices his religion and everything, but he stays right until the end. And it made me question lots of things while we are really surrounded with everything that we consider is attacking us, keeping our humanity to the end. I was like, that's the hope that I was waiting for.
Yeah, and the nap, this metaphor of the womb, as we were in your womb, but you allow us to go out and to grow and to think. Now we're in the house, but we're not allowed. And then the film with the new house and the prep school and stuff like that, I think really really was also very nice. metaphorically. She was great. I think we run out a little bit of time. It's great, Ahmet, because it's difficult to do this Q&As, but it felt a little bit like being together. I guess that's one of your gifts about documentary maker, that you can make people feel that way.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always, I don't know, it's always very good to discuss what we've done, and it's just, well, thank you.
Okay, see you soon in Helsinki.
Yeah. I have my jacket, so ciao.